Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. I am your host, John Espinosa. I am your host, John Espinosa, to the Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everybody, John here. Welcome to the Leading Leaders podcast. We're closing out another season. This was the season themed all about teams. One of the things that I think is very important and we're going to talk about is that this season really centered around teams, but it also had components of how to work on your individual self, because as we work within teams, and teams have been around before the dawn of time, if you think about how buildings are built, construction, that's a team. If you think about how families, the legacies of families are built, families are teams. Translate that into the work environment, some of the best innovations came out of teams. Teams are a group of individuals that are centered around a common theme. They're working towards a purpose. They're working towards something that's bigger than themselves. So you can see that teams play an important part. And we haven't even gotten to our sporting events, where the team concept is very, very important. So whether you're an individual on a team or you're leading a team, you're in a family, you're on a job site, you're on a sports team, or you're in college and you're working in groups or teams, you have a role to play. And in this season, we unpacked quite a bit. So I would encourage you to go back, take a listen to any one of the episodes. These season closers, what I challenge you to do is implement at least one thing from this season. We talked about conflict, how to deal with conflict in your relationships and in your teams. Conflict is going to arise. There are going to be disagreements. There are going to be differences of thought or opinions. That is going to happen. But how we deal with that in a team environment can be critical to the success of that team. If we let things fester, whether they're coming out within the team or there's conversations occurring outside of the team, it will impact the team performance. So how do you deal with conflict? If you're the leader of that team, it must be dealt with. You need to go to those individuals and have those tough conversations. If you are a person in that conflict, we've talked about the drama triangle. You're either the savior, the persecutor, or the victim. And if you're one of those three, you are perpetuating that conflict. So take away one of those and the triangle will fall. Conflict is inevitable. Disagreements will happen. So conflict, take care of it. One of the other things that we talked about was chaos. And this goes right in line with conflict. But chaos can be maybe a deadline that's coming up. And everybody is pressured to get something done or produce a product or, an event. Even a wedding can be considered a chaotic event. Everybody is working towards a common goal to make sure that this special day is the best it can be, and that can create stress. So a lot of things can come out of chaos, but don't let the chaos drive everything that you do, because if you're in a perpetual chaotic environment, you can become burnout. And we all know burnout is not somewhere we want to go. I'm sure everybody has experienced burnout in some form or fashion. Recognize those signs of burnout. Go back and take a listen to that episode, because we talk about the different signs and the different ways to cope with burnout and prevent burnout. One of the other things that we talked about was those group dynamics. So as you are coming into a team, maybe you're a new member into a team, there's that storming, norming, forming, and performing process. Maybe it's a new team that has been put together and you all are trying to figure each other out. There may be a couple individuals that know each other. You may be one of those, but that team will need to evolve as it begins to figure each other out, what each other's strengths and weaknesses are, how to divvy up the work, who can we trust, and in the end, how can we maximize our performance so that we can meet the deadline, produce the deliverable, or create an event that is special and memorable. And when that happens, nothing will stop you. The impossible seems possible. One of the other things as we talk about teams, and this is one piece that I really focus on when I come into organizations and I help them develop strategy or some values, core values within the organization, is culture. When we talk about culture, people automatically go towards the buzzwords like cornerstone, our values, trust, accountability, productivity, communication. Those are all buzzwords when it comes to culture. But when you tear away all of that and I walk into the doors of an organization or I join a team, how are they interacting? Are they talking outside of the meeting? Are they talking before the meeting? Are they only talking about work? What's the dynamic of the team? Each other's characteristics, their expertise. How do they perform when nobody is looking? How do they perform when they're under stress? How do they perform when it seems to be a little quiet? That's how you figure out culture. Culture isn't figured out in a room of leaders whiteboarding words on the wall or coming up with a new slogan that they're going to paste everywhere or market or brand or whatever they're going to do. Culture is what people do when others aren't watching. Do they have a great work-life balance? How's their communication between each other? A lot of things play into that culture piece. So examine your culture, even within your family. And families go through hard times, but when they're in those hard times, do you all pull together and help each other out? Or do you say, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I told you not to do that. The same thing within our relationships or our work environment. Does innovation happen? Do you point fingers when something goes wrong? That's that cultural piece of teams. And we can even break that down into individual one-on-one relationships because there can be teams of two. A team doesn't have to be bigger. Your spouse and you are a team. You may be parents. You may be navigating through life, figuring it out. When we get married, we come together as significant others. We have to mold together our experiences. Maybe that may be religion. Maybe that may be our work ethic. Maybe that's our families. Do they get along? And what's the importance that we play on us as the relationship? So there's a lot of things that we unpack this season when it comes to teams. One of the things that I would, again, challenge you, if you were listening to this podcast, I know that you want to get better. You're not spending your time here with us in the Go Be Great community because you want to be average. So take one thing away from this season and implement it. Don't wait. The new year is right around the corner and everybody is waiting for the new year to start their new eating habits or to start their new exercise routine or to start their new non-negotiables. Start today on the things that you want to change. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for the new year. Start those today, and you are going to realize, even if it's messy, because that's our mantra here in Go Be Great community, go before you're ready, just do it messy, and don't miss 2 days in a row, and I promise you that is going to kickstart your new year. I hope everybody enjoyed this season as much as I enjoyed recording it. We had a couple interviews. I did an article review. We're going to do some Q&A sessions. I am continuing to have a great time recording this for you in the Go Be Great community. Thank you for continuing to listen in. If you are not subscribed, please do us a favor and subscribe. Only about 30% of the audience out there that listens to us are subscribed. It helps us bring and continue to bring this podcast to you free of charge, free of ads, and it really means a lot to me. I believe in you. Go forth with your teams and conquer the world. Go be great. We'll talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great.